Hello, my name is Tracy Allen, and I want to welcome you to Cooking with Some Friends. Good morning and welcome to Cooking with Some Friends. I'm finishing up my coffee and I'm getting ready for church. And before I do, I'm going to get some stuff ready because this afternoon for lunch, we're going to do some barbecuing, and so we'll have some dips and chips and those kinds of things. So I'm going to show you a Tex-Mex recipe, and we love Tex-Mex food, but it's for a 7-layer dip. And so I'm ready to get started. I think I have everything out. So in my container, and you can do this in a 9x13, but I want it a little bit thicker. In my container, I have spread out a 16-ounce can of refried beans. If you make your own refried beans, that's great too, and I have a recipe for those. And then I'm going to make a mixture of I have about 2.5 cups of sour cream that I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of taco seasoning to, and the juice of about half a lime. And I want to mix those together, and then this is going to go over my refried beans. And you can make this and serve it immediately, or you can make it and cover it and refrigerate it and have it a little bit later, which is what we're going to do. Okay, spread that over that layer. And if your family is like ours, it's hard to find just anything in particular that, or particularly, that everybody likes exactly like it is. So you do your adjusting and do what you have to do to make sure your family gets at least some option. And we're going to do that with the 7-layer dip. So for some, it may only be a 6-layer dip. Okay, now that that is spread out, I'm going to add one of those things that not everybody in our family likes, and that's some guacamole. And you can make some homemade guacamole, which I've shown a recipe for that, or you can find some really pretty good store-purchased guacamoles, and so that's what I'm going to use. And it really, the recipe calls for 2.5 cups, but since half of our people don't like guacamole, I'm only going to put half of it, or this over half of my mixture. And that's fine, because then we'll eat the rest of it just as guacamole. I always like to add a little bit of sour cream to my guacamole when I make it from scratch anyway, so. Okay. And set it aside. And over the top of that, I'm going to take a 16-ounce jar of salsa, and it goes on next. And the recipe calls for chunky salsa, but if your family likes salsa that's not chunky, then that's totally up to you. Okay, next come our cheeses. I'm going to put on half a cup of mild cheddar cheese. And then I have shredded up some Monterey Jack cheese, about a cup of it. And that will go over the top of the cheddar. And you can buy the pre-shredded if you want to. It just, like I've told you before, it has some fillers in it, so it would still work fine for this recipe since you're not cooking anything in this recipe. Okay, on top of that, I'm going to take, I've shredded up about 2 cups of lettuce. And I've quartered some tomatoes, some cherry tomatoes. And then I have some sliced ripe olives. And again, these are only going to go over half of this, even though they'd be pretty easy to take off if you're not crazy about ripe olives. Now I'm going to cover this and refrigerate it, and we'll have this with our burgers and brats and chips this for lunch. Let's do another quick 4th of July idea for out on the grill. So last night I took my jalapenos, and we're gonna make some jalapeno poppers on the grill. And I took those jalapenos and I put a slice down the middle, and then I took a spoon and dug out the seeds and the veins, and I left the stem intact. And then I made a filling that's a combination of 8 ounces of cream cheese, 8 ounces of cheddar cheese, a tablespoon of Southwest seasoning. And that's going to go in there. And you're going to put about 1.5 tablespoons, and you can use a spoon if you want to. But I found that it's easier to stuff them if I use my hands. You just want to make sure you don't touch anything until you wash your hands thoroughly after as well, because it will sting. So you want about 1.5 tablespoons in there. Stuff it in as well as you can. Then we're going to push it closed as well as we can. Take a strip of bacon. I have 2 in my hand here. And we're going to start at the stem end and wrap those tightly, covering that opening that you put the filling in. And then we want to secure that with a toothpick. And we're going to put these on the grill, and put them seam side down and grill them until they start to get tender, and then flip them. Just cook them 10 minutes or so, or however long it takes on your grill to get the bacon done. And then you have your 4th of July jalapeno poppers. Thanks for joining us for this session of Cooking with Some Friends. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And find us on Facebook at Cooking with Some Friends.